Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet an award-winning certified case manager who helps elders and their families navigate the odyssey of aging. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, they call it the silver tsunami because so many baby boomers are aging every day that our healthcare system truly doesn't have the manpower and woman power to deal with all of the people who are going to need help in the coming years. To talk about that today and much more, Cheryl A. She is a registered nurse and she has a bunch of other credentials. She's my friend. She's a certified case manager with Comprehensive Care Management, LLC. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It is such a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm honored to have you, and you do have so many credentials, so let's rattle through a few of them. So, registered nurse.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I've been a nurse for a lot of years, and, you know, Gallup says we're trusted, so that's a start. As a certified case manager, I became certified, which is kind of like an advanced practice situation where I became certified in 1998. And basically worked in the insurance world, referred to as the dark side, but I actually just loved it. I worked for some insurance companies, but I also worked for managed care, coordinating care for patients around the country that had catastrophic illnesses, whether it was newborn babies that were premature, high-risk moms, multi-traumas, cancer, transplant, stroke, head injuries.
Wow.
And people go, you don't look depressed. I'm like, I love my job because I'm able to help them when they're so vulnerable and there's so many needs going on.
And another credential is certified dementia practitioner, which is a big deal these days, isn't it?
It is dementia of all sorts because, you know, people don't understand it. And what's so hard for so many people is, you know, when somebody has advanced cancer, they look sick. But when somebody has dementia, especially in the early stages, they look fine until they open their mouth and they start talking and people go, something's off here.
Yes.
So, and there's so many different types of dementia. I think there's like 150, but most people know Alzheimer's, vascular, Lewy body, and sometimes you have mixed. You can have a combination of and frontotemporal dementia. Those are the big ones.
All right, we're going to pull up Cheryl's website, and before the show we were visiting, you said something that I thought was powerful. You're a fixer, you're a problem solver. Explain how you solve problems for families.
Well, it's really interesting because I do get referrals from elder law attorneys. I've actually had some referrals from probate judges where there's some, let's just call it family dynamics, when there's disagreement about how to care for mom or dad or maybe both, or a sibling even. And my job is to go in basically like Switzerland, be neutral, assess the situation, figure out what medicines they're taking, who are the helpers, who's providing care, who's not providing care, who's the decision maker, if there is one. Does there need to be one? Yeah. And so I do that foundational assessment and come up with a care plan to say, okay, right now, this is working, that's not working. Here's what we need to plan for next week, next month, because it's never about today. Yeah. It's always about moving forward and looking long-term and then figuring how is the care going to be funded? Because people don't understand insurance. And frankly, I do. I worked in the insurance industry for almost 9 years, and people think Medicare is going to pay for long-term care, and it doesn't. It's a health insurance for when you're sick, not when you need help with taking a bath.
Yes. You also are a very popular speaker, and you speak on a couple of subjects I want you to address. Elder isolation first.
Yes, I recently spoke at the National Case Management Society National Conference that was actually held here in Dallas on the new epidemic called elder isolation and loneliness, because more and more we're living longer. Families are far more transient, so the adult children may be moving to another location for a job. And then sometimes you get the reverse migration. The kids leave with their families, and then the parents end up moving to where they are.
Yes.
So they've left, pardon me, their neighborhood
Yes.
and their friends and their doctors. So they have to start over. And so they get isolated because they may not be driving. They may not have been driving before they left, and they don't know the neighborhood,
Yes.
don't know the people. And so you get this cacophony of issues that are going on. And there's all kinds of studies that show isolation and loneliness can lead to higher increased rates of hypertension, morbidity and mortality, diabetes, depression, and the list is long.
Another popular speech, and you have a clever title for it, is it medication can be a real pill? Did I say that right?
Or not.
Okay.
You have to add the or not on there because there's so many different forms. Everybody says, oh, take an aspirin, call the doctor in the morning. Well, not so much. We've got sprays, we've got inhalations, we've got patches, we've got lotions. And yes, even suppositories.
So, and some of these medications, if you're not on top of it, they can interact with each other in a very bad way. Like could be a lethal cocktail.
It is. I mean, because we have drugs that have a brand name, and then we also have maybe the same drug with the generic name. Like, for example, I'm not endorsing any drug, but there's a drug called Protonix. It's a proton pump inhibitor, which helps reflux gastric disease, right? But the generic name is pantoprazole. And so people don't understand that Protonix is pantoprazole, and so they may be double dosing.
Yes.
Or they go in the hospital and this one's changed and that one's changed, and I paid for the other one, so I still need to take those.
Wow.
And then they double dose their blood pressure meds, and then they're on the floor because their blood pressure has dropped and bottomed out.
Well, I mentioned off the top of the show that she's an award-winning certified case manager. We got some video that we're going to put on the screen because in 2019 you won a major award. This is like winning the Super Bowl for a football player.
It was actually the absolute highlight of my professional career. It was the National Award for Service Excellence for my work in dealing with clients, starting a business, doing public speaking, because I do speak to lay people. I don't just speak at professional conferences. I probably have done more speaking to the lay people because people don't understand healthcare. And when you give people information, you give them power. And power is, I don't know, you tell me how much that's worth. I mean, it's, when people understand what's going on, they understand their medical conditions, I may be able to keep them out of the hospital if they understand that they need to be weighing themselves on a frequent basis if they have congestive heart failure, and they need to know that if they've gained 4 pounds in 2 days, they need to be calling their doctor because they could be in early heart failure without having a symptom, just the scale.
So let's talk a little bit about dementia and Alzheimer's, and we've got some video from our library that we're going to put up. I heard that one of the reasons why we're seeing so much of this is because everybody's living longer. 3 decades ago, we would live to 70, and now we're living to 90 or 100.
Those are we call them super agers. I've got a client who's actually 99.
Wow.
And it's hysterical. I was like, we have to have a half-year birthday for her because anybody over the age of 90 gets a half-year birthday because you never know if they're going to make it to the next one.
Give advice to the caretakers. In many cases, if they don't have the funds to bring in a registered nurse, the family is taking care of the loved one. And it can be frustrating, I think, for especially when dementia first sets in. You're like, hey, Mom, I just answered this question 5 times. So what are some words of wisdom for the caretakers of the person dealing with dementia?
Don't argue. Don't argue. You will not win the argument. One of the things that I tell people is that if somebody has any form of dementia, whether it's early stages when they're first getting diagnosed, or if it's later on in the moderate stage, and they're saying, no, today's Monday. Yes, Mom, you're right.
And just go with them.
Just go with the flow, because the thing is, you can't argue with somebody who's not capable of arguing back rationally. And you will always win. And then they get defensive. Well, you've always been difficult and na 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 na. So then you get this butting of the heads and everybody's ticked off, and it's not good because it raises everybody's blood pressure. But it's just really difficult not to say, no, you're wrong. No, it's Tuesday, or no,
Yeah,
it's,
right, right.
yet no, you just ate breakfast.
Right.
So the trick is to try to distract them. Well, oh, wait, I think I heard the dog outside. Let's go see if the dog's outside. So you have to do these diversionary techniques, and it takes practice. It takes practice for me, and I've been doing this. I've had my business now just over 18 years.
Wow.
And I still kind of go, I need to rephrase that, or think,
Yes.
how else do I do it? So if you're new to the game, so to speak, you really have to focus. But there's fortunately a lot of literature out there. There are support groups all over the place, and you kind of need to
Sure.
get involved. But it's also hard if you're being the caregiver. How do you get to the support group?
Yes. Well, it seems to me you have a great bedside manner. So in the final 2 minutes of the show, I want you to talk to that family that they're watching this and they know they need to bring in somebody like you. What does the process look like? Do they contact you through the website?
They often contact me by phone. And I've had people come up to me after a presentation. They say, oh, I wish I'd known you when. And they tell me their story. But over the phone, I get a call. It's like, well, I got your name from whoever.
Right.
And they tell me so it's like, tell me what's going on. Well, I need a new will. No, that's not me. You need an attorney. So I'll just give them some elder law attorney names, or family law, estate planning attorneys. But I get a picture of their situation to say, yes, that is something I can deal with. I've done it before. And I hear in their voice what I refer to as the Home Alone look.
Yeah.
They start literally almost just spewing forth all this. Well, my mother, she's been in a hospital. She said she's fine. And I know she's not. She's falling. And there's this frantic sense of, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
And yet the adult child is wanting to do all the best things that they can. They don't know what the roadmap needs to look like and all the resources. But the other issue is then they're now having the role reversal of becoming the parent, and the parent becoming not the child, but basically losing some of their independence, so that the adult child, whether it's a family, could be multiple siblings making the decisions and helping figure things out. Maybe it's just one. When it's just one adult child, it's really sad, because sometimes there's like, I can't do this all by myself. And I'm like, well, that's when I can help. So I had a family tell me one time, I was talking to one of the adult children. All of them are out of state. The parent is here. And it was after Thanksgiving, and I said, oh, yeah, how was your Thanksgiving? Or they were asking me how my Thanksgiving was, and I cook a turkey every year for my friends in Houston, because I'm the turkey cooker, among other things. And I said, how was yours? And he said, you know what, Cheryl? He said, we gave thanks for you. And, that's what helps me sleep at night, because everywhere I've worked, whether I was dealing with somebody with cancer in the health insurance world or dealing with somebody with dementia here and now, I can't change the diagnosis, but if I can make the journey a little smoother, a little more peaceful, if the person's dying, let them die with grace, with services, having their needs met, and having the support of the family, caregivers, whoever they are, then that's the good thing. That's why I sleep at night.
Wow. Cheryl, you inspire me. Thank you so much for lending your talents to such a precious population. We're going to end with her website, which is txcasemanager.com. The great Cheryl Akers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.